folks, and welcome back to Space Engineers. I've been working on a little project that requires your help and your input. Before we go into your help and your input, let's go over what the project is and why we're doing it in the first place. So, this project is a ship torture test. A lot of times, especially me, you know that we create ships and we really never put them through the test. A lot of times I create awesome military ships and they never see combat. And I'm sure you guys do too. So what I did is I created a small little torture test arena. And what happens is we put our ship over there, we fly it through, and then it stops right there. And as it goes through a series of torture tests, and we're going to go and take a look at that. Right now we are inside of our command and control section where we can control all of the different aspects of the torture test, which we will be doing thusly this episode. I'm going to be testing my very, very, very oldest design of ship that I have made, and we're going to be taking a look at that in a little bit as well. So let's take a look at the torture test itself. If you guys, well, this is where you guys come in. You guys can send me your ship designs. There's a little contact page on the About section of my YouTube channel. You just press that and it should give you some contact information. You can send me the link to your ship in the Steam Workshop and we can test it via that. Or if you guys can just send me a link to the Steam Workshop where your ship is. If you want me to take a look at it and put it through the torture test, feel free. And I'm going to need your designs, so yeah, send them to me. Alright, just one thing to note, you can send me small ships, pretty much of any size, as long as it's, well, as long as it moves, I suppose. And large ships need to be less than 50 blocks across and 50 blocks tall, and probably shouldn't be more than 300, maybe less than 300 blocks long too. So just small, medium size, and large size, large block ships. Anything larger than a large ship, like a very large or just gargantuan ship, probably wouldn't fit. So if it can fit through this little square, we can test it. And this is a fairly large square, so it shouldn't have a problem fitting through. Alright, so at the very, very beginning of our torture test, as you can see, we have a little bullseye. That's to help line us up on the torture test. So when we fly, we can kind of line our crosshairs up with the crosshair on that block at the wall at the end of the torture test. So as we fly through, we go through a little bit of just very, very, very light firepower. Very, very light. And part of the torture test is not only to see what kind of damage your ship can receive, but what kind of damage your ship can dish out as well. So here we have some little stations. They are disconnected from the rest. As you see, these are all connected for a very, very good reason. These are not. They're just one Gatling cannon for shooting down missiles, one missile turret for shooting, well, your ship. Alright. And that's just a very, very light firepower, and very, very easy to take out as well, because there's only one nuclear reactor in there. And the further we go down the line, the heavier the firepower gets, and we change up the design of firing things as well. So here is mostly just a whole bunch of missile turrets with one or two Gatling turrets to shoot down incoming missiles, but there are 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and where's the 4th one? There's the 4th one. And they're all connected via these heavy armor blocks. And the reason they're connected via heavy armor blocks is if the power source on these gets taken out, they'll still be powered by the power sources that are powering the rest of these. So there's a little bit of redundancy there. And as we fly further down the line, we fly through a set of 4 Gatling turrets that have 4 Gatling turrets on each. Also, there's a couple of lights just to illuminate it so we can see what's happening, because in DirectX 11 everything gets dark and stuff. And again, the top line is disconnected, so it will be easy to take out the top line on the right. However, the top line on the left and the bottom line on the left are going to be much, much more difficult to destroy. But if you can manage to destroy them, that means your ship has a lot of firepower. So bunch of Gatling cannons, And these Gatling cannons are not only going to target missiles, they're going to target your ship as well. And further down the line, we have a whole bunch of missile turrets with no Gatling cannons. So that's an interesting combination right there. Also, fairly easy to take out the power source, which is readily exposed right there. And further down the line, we have the very, very first of our decoys, which are there, and there, and the weapons alternate. So we have missile turrets, Gatling turrets, missile turrets, Gatling turrets, so it gives a good mix and variety to test your ship's defense and offense. And same thing as before, not connected to anything, so easier to take out, much harder to take out, but there are 4 of them. 2 of them are connected, 2 of them are not. And then at the very end, if your ship just has way too much firepower and none of this actually managed to do anything, we have a bunch of decoys and the final gift. Well, not the final parting gift. The final parting gift is a wall that they get to run into, which is generally pretty soft because it's made out of light armor blocks, and it's just meant to stop the ship. It's not really meant to do too much damage. Anyhow, the final parting gift is a whole bunch of warheads with mass blocks attached via merge blocks, and there are gravity generators on the other side. So what happens is your ship hits the end, we let all of these things go, and that will be the final parting gift, assuming that your Gatling cannons and defenses can keep up. If they can keep up, that would be pretty awesome. So that is the lowdown and the rundown on the defense and torture test that will test both the offense and defensive firepower, and the armor plating and redundancy, and if your ship can fly at all by the time that it finishes going through this torture test. That's pretty awesome. As you can see, that was a really, really big lag spike. Every now and again, with this new update, I'm getting like second-long lag spikes for apparently no reason, because this is the only thing. This is an empty world except for the torture test and this one ship here, which we're going to take a look at, because I know that some of you have seen it. For those of you who have been with my channel for a long time, those of you who haven't probably have never seen this before in your life and probably going to laugh when you see it. But this is the very, very first ship I ever made in Space Engineers, and I jumped on the Space Engineers train the moment it launched. So this was probably made within the first 2 or 3 weeks of Space Engineers launching. So it is missing a lot of vital things that are in Space Engineers now, such as heavy armor blocks, windows, and pretty much everything else that you could possibly imagine that might help us, like blast doors. I would have put blast doors in here because this is meant to be a hangar bay, if you can imagine that. But the reason I'm choosing this ship is because it's actually one of my better designs as far as redundancy goes. And what I mean by that is you'll see there's a pod in each section of the ship. There's a pod here for the hangar, there's a pod here for the not engineering section, but living section and storage area, and then here is the engineering section with the bridge of the ship right there. Also, as you see, no windows, so we had to use these little vents. Also, this is back in the day when there were ladders, not passageways, so you'll see some areas where they're very clearly supposed to be ladders, but instead they're just passages. Anyhow, I digress. Each one of these sections can work independently if they get severed from the rest of the ship, because each one of these has many, many thrusters in all directions, and each one of them has their own command seat and flight seat. So, as you see here, plenty of different thrusters for all directions on top and bottom. Same thing here. I don't think there are any on the bottom on this one. Nope. And here are the thrust pods, and more thrust pods here. So even if these thrust pods get separated, this ship can still function perfectly. And I know I have done torture tests with this before, but not in a scientific manner, so to speak. So, One more thing. I had to put a remote control thing in here as well as a camera, because what we're going to do is we're going to go to that area over there, that command station over there, and we are going to start flying it in a straight line. We are going to turn off the inertial dampeners. We're going to turn it to an enemy unit, and then we're going to let the torture test do its job. Alright, speaking of which, I should probably turn the antenna up to maximum range so I can reach it. So antenna, broadcast range, yeah, that's good enough. Doesn't need to be more than that. Alright, well, let's head on over to our viewing platform and let's get the test started. And remember, if you guys want to send me your ship designs, you'll just have to somehow get it to me via Steam Workshop. So I will make sure to be doing those in the future. If you guys want me to do my own ship designs, feel free to let me know, and I can try to do those as well. Just let me know in the comments below. And yes, here is the... I don't know if I went through what is in this. Not too much. Just a remote control, gravity generator, a couple of nuclear reactors. On top there's an antenna. And there's a flight seat, so we can see what we're doing. Alright, well, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to want to do is select our ship. Is that it? No, I believe this is it. It's going to be the one with gyroscopes. It is. So we're going to want to find the remote control. So that would be this guy right here. Apparently I put in 2 on accident, but that's just fine. Oh yeah, that's right. I put in 1 as a backup in case one gets destroyed, but that's not going to be the case. So we're going to control via that, and we need to look at the camera. There we go. Unfortunately, there's this stupid heads-up display, or stupid texture on the camera, so you can't really see anything that we need to see. There we go. Now we can see. We want to make sure that we're right on the crosshairs. We're probably going to be want to be going somewhere around 20 to 30 meters per second. We are going to change the ship into enemy hands as soon as we cross the threshold, which is indicated by the little box right there, and then that's where the test will actually begin. So let's get started. Let's turn the inertial dampeners off. Let's see if we can't get it up to around, I don't know, 25 meters per second, if somewhere around there. Okay, that's probably good right around there. So what we're gonna do, control panel, select all the things, create an NPC. We're gonna get kicked out right now. There we go. And the test has begun. In fact, I'm probably going to make it go in QuickTime right now, because it's probably going to slow down my computer incredibly a lot. And you're going to get probably a little bit lower of a frame rate. So I'm going to do this in a little QuickTime event. So see you guys back when we are finished with the test, and we will review the results. Alright, well that certainly was something. Because I'm fairly certain that after the the mines got their way with it, there is nothing left of this ship. I mean, nothing. This is about the biggest piece that we've found so far, which is, I believe this is part of the top of the ship, as there's a nuclear reactor up there, and I believe that, yeah, this is the top of the ship. At the top of the bridge there were a couple of thrusters here and there, and as you can see, there's nothing left. So the very first design of a ship that I made out of light armor blocks, fares not so well when being attacked with the torture test. However, I very, very much would like to test one of my better designs, or if you guys have your own design, feel free to send them in. I was actually going to see if I could, you know, walk around what was left of my ship, but that's certainly not the case, as there's really nothing left to take a look at. And as you can see, it hit this, and now this is drifting off into space because, well, when I made it, it was a station, but for some reason it got turned into, oh no, wait, there's the biggest part of the ship. Ha, 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 there's actually something left. It just bounced off. So, let's take a look and see what is actually left. So, as you can see, I think it's really only the engineering section. Yeah, you can see a whole bunch of nuclear reactors on board. Hey, it still kind of sort of works. I wonder if the bridge is left. So, let's see here. The bridge is this way. Oh my god. We might be able to control this. We might be able to control this. And here I was going to end the episode without having found this. So, yeah, this ship design didn't fare very well, but yeah, the flight seats were up there. So let's put down a flight seat and see if we can't control this thing. And yeah, there we go. So let's actually take a look. What is actually left? Not too much. Not too much at all. We have... Well, let's turn on our inertial dampeners and stop moving, for one. You know what? For having been utterly blown to Kingdom Come, this actually still turns fairly well. I mean, I wouldn't want to be inside of it while it's getting attacked, but I would say, despite the fact it doesn't look anything like it's supposed to, it kind of sort of survived the torture test, and we're not even at maximum power usage. Granted, all of the thrusters are gone, but this thing still moves. There's absolutely no oh wait, there still is a Gatling cannon left. It's kind of broken, but it's right there. Haha! So this design is extremely redundant for good reason, so you can even survive a torture test in this thing. Not saying you'd want to be inside of it, but yeah, there you go. If you guys have your own designs, feel free to send them in. I would definitely rate this design as being very, very redundant. Terrible, terrible armor. And let's actually take a look at the firepower, because I think we did destroy some stuff. I think we did destroy a couple of the Gatling turrets and missile turrets at the very, very front of the test. I know that we did destroy one of the antennas, because that's why we weren't able to turn off the missile turrets and Gatling turrets on one of the sections of this. So I had to place a control console to do that. And here are it's just a massive debris field on what used to be the ship. Also, this used to be one of the launchers, but that's all gone. So there's still that part of the ship that's drifting off. I think that's actually probably the front of the ship then, as that's the engineering section and middle of the ship, or whatever's left of it anyhow. Alright, well, let's go over here. So this is actually, I think this is the side of the launcher that we actually launched our mines from. And it actually blew up the other launcher, so I guess we really only have to have one. But we'll learn things for each test that we do. And let's take a look. There should be some sort of... Well, they must have destroyed it quite thoroughly, because they're not around here anywhere. There were two independent missile and Gatling turret stations around here, and the stations are gone, which indicates that they have been completely destroyed for the most part. Let's take a look and see if there's any damage on these. I think by this point, the firepower on the frigate over there was pretty much completely gone. Actually, no, it wasn't. It actually looks like it destroyed all of the missile and Gatling turrets on these. The antennas are still in place. Oh, looks like there is this one left over here. And let's take a look at it. There's probably nothing left. Okay, yeah, so there it is. It blew off everything. That's why I couldn't find it. And is there anything left? Okay, so there's one Gatling turret left. There used to be several over there. So it actually has a decent amount of firepower. I'm actually surprised that all these things are drifting off, because I made them as stations. Anyhow. Yeah, there's really not too much left of these. Well, that's actually kind of surprising. So I guess that does have decent firepower for such a early design ship. It certainly didn't make it through, though, and I wouldn't necessarily consider that a win, considering how many resources I would have lost if I were, inside of it. And the survivability inside doesn't look that great unless you're in the cockpit. So let's actually take a look at the full interior of the ship, because we did take a little gander around the bridge of the ship, but there was a main hallway that led down here. So this is the second room of the ship. It's really hard to tell that this used to be a room. Actually, it was several rooms. It was 2 decks. So there's deck 2, deck 1. This was the first floor. That was the second floor. Completely all gone. Nothing left whatsoever. And then there's this hallway is actually in pretty terrible shape. There's gravity on board yet, which is really surprising. And of course the doors don't work because I still have it transferred to an enemy NPC right now, but this is one of the engineering sections. Still has a bunch of gyroscopes left. A lot of the nuclear reactors are leaking and don't work, but it's enough to get the ship working. And there was a passageway at the back of the ship, which is completely gone. There's a medical room back here, which you cannot respawn at because it's all broken. There's one of the gravity generators, a couple backup reactors are still in place. Is probably what keeping this what is keeping this thing from drifting off into space. A couple of backup gyroscopes working. The very, very last backup reactors and gyroscopes working as intended. And this is where the actual flight seat would have been. So you would have died if you were on here, but if you were, sitting back in the bunker area of the ship, which is back there, you would have been fine, actually, which is really surprising. Alright, well, there you go. If you guys want to send me your designs, we'll go through those in due time. That was my design. That's absolutely terrible because it's a really early design. Anyhow, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you, folks, for watching. You want to see more? Tell me. You don't? Tell me that, too. Thank you, folks, for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.